Hello and welcome to haQ attaQ. My name is Jakob, I'm your host and you're watching a haQ attaQ episode. This is PPG Phonem by Wolfgang Palm. It's absolutely amazing. One of the best vocal synthesizers I've ever had the privilege to use, due to the fact that the level of control you have over everything inside Phonum is it's huge. Now today we're going to create a vocal drone that sounds like overtone singing, like a Tuvan drone type of singing. And the reason why I chose a sound like that is because I want to show you how important it is to know how this works, the filters, because that's basically what these are. These are a series of filters, so you've got the decibel meter here, and you've got the frequency scale right there. We're going to start by initializing the patch by pressing the program up here, PRG, and then pressing initialize. Now we're greeted to this, but I want to start really fresh. So I'm going to tap up here, I'm going to remove all of these and put in my own R. So make sure you're using small letters, double A for AR. Come on, don't try to correct that. And this is what we get. Alright, so right now we don't have a continuous sound, something we do want when we're creating a drone, and that's due to the playback of the phonemes. And there are several things you need to think about when it comes to the playback of the phonemes. But before I get into that, I'm gonna start by making my R sound more R-ish. By the way, PPG Phonem is velocity sensitive, so you get the idea. Now, to make our R sound even more R-ish, we have to sculpt the frequencies inside the vocal tract, and we do that down here. As you can see, we've got several points, and these are filters. You set the Q value by tapping and holding at the plus sign, like that, and you move them around by tapping and dragging them. And I'm gonna do this while playing, so you can hear how the R sound gets created. Now it's starting to sound more like an R. Now to get overtone singing, we are going to manipulate the frequencies between 1000 Hz up to 3000 Hz. So it's basically this area. Listen closely now. Now if we sharpen the point even more, so now you know how to create something overtune-ish, and you can do this with all of the frequencies in here. So I do urge you to experiment a lot with the frequencies inside each of the phonemes to really make it sound special. Alright, so now that we have this phonem done, I'm gonna up the length a bit. And the AXP is actually the ending of the phonemes. I'm gonna up the length of that too. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose the first one and then also up the blend mode a bit. And this controls the blending between phonemes, so you get a smoother transition between the phonemes. Now that we have this one done, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna double tap and I get a list. I'm gonna press copy, and then I'm gonna double tap again and press paste. We're gonna make sure that this one is chosen, and then we're gonna change the point of this frequency. And then we're gonna copy this one again and paste it again. And choose the third one and change this point. And then copy this again and paste it again. Now it's starting to get full here, but you can actually zoom in and zoom out using these buttons right here. I'm gonna choose the last one. So I'm quite satisfied with how this sounds, but I want to make a long drone where the phonemes changes slowly over time. And now we get into the play modes. Look here. it says access mode. And if we tap that, we get a list. Right now it says envelope, and that's exactly what we want to use. I just wanted to show you the list of different play modes you can use to actually play back the phonemes. If I choose frame, it's only gonna play the selected frame. So if I select this frame, it's only gonna play that one. Now we're gonna go back in here and choose envelope. And now we have to look down there. This is the envelope. Oh, by the way, this window has loads of options too, but we are going to stick with the time envelope. First, I want to make sure that it starts playback at the beginning and then stops before it reaches the end. So look at the time envelope here. The slope controls playback length. Let me show you. If I pull this up, it's just gonna play the first phoneme. Now let's pull it down a bit. And you see it stops there? Now we're gonna make it so it stops at the last phoneme. Now I really like that, but I want the playback to be slower. And that's when we start to look at the length of the slope. Even longer. And now we actually have a very cool drone sound. Okay, so right now it plays all of the phonemes, and when it reaches the end, it just sticks there. So we don't have much more modulation, but we can actually add some. And I said I wasn't gonna show you this, but I am gonna do that. So if we look in this section here, there are actually two lists. This is one list, and then you have the list right there. And here you have the option of setting a loop. And then it does this. Oh, and by the way, this button right here, the trace, when you press that, you can actually see the phonemes change, which is very, very cool. But as long as you've got the trace option on, you can't really change anything in here. So you'll have to turn off the trace mode before you can do any changes inside. And imagine what happens when you blend this with different types of vowels. Here we're just using an R. Let's say you use an O or an E. There are so many things you can do with Phonum. It's insane. And what I've shown you here is just a small percentage of the sounds you can get out of Phonum. Okay, so to make this sound really hack-ish, we have to do one more thing, adding a fat reverb. I will be making more videos of this. If you want to hear more sounds coming out of Phonum, I don't do videos like that. I like getting into tweaking the sounds. But my former colleague, Doug Woods, he's made an excellent video where he's going through sounds inside Phonum. So I suggest you go check that video. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. I've also got a Patreon account and I've got loads of plans for it if you're interested in joining up and supporting me in that way. As usual, I wish all of you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.